It is not the outside world keeping you from getting ahead in life. It is your inner world. And today we're going to talk about exactly how to change, how to shift this inner world in order to get ahead in life. And particularly in the realm of finances. So we all want wealth, whether we admit that or not. Okay? We want to solve the monetary problems in our lives and to be able to live comfortably. At the end of the day, what is the definition of wealth for you? Okay, so the way I would define wealth, and I'm not talking about sort of this more philosophical wealth of, oh, wealth is more than money. Wealth is having your family around and having time time is definitely a part of it, but we're not going to talk about time today. I'm talking about monetary wealth. It doesn't have a set number on it. It's not millionaire, it's not 6 figures a month. Actual wealth to me is to be able to live more carefree without worry, be able to go to the grocery store and not have to check prices on everything, open up a menu at a restaurant, not have to, by default go to where the chicken section is because it's cheaper than steak. That's wealth to me. To not have to, and even more, to take that further, wealth is having enough money to be able to bless others as I am blessed. I like to be able to tip big. I like to be able to buy gifts for people. I like to be able to pour into other people and see their see their life change. Maybe not their life, but maybe see their day get a little bit better. See it be a source of excitement in someone's life, even if it's only for a day. Okay? To me, that's wealth. To be able to do that is to live truly free, truly wealthy. And so, in order to do that, we have to take a few things into account. Right? Like I said before, I hate the term "get rich quick." There's no such thing. Why? Even if you become an overnight millionaire, if you do not change your thermostat on the inside, and we'll talk about the thermostat especially, we might get to it today, but if you don't change the thermostat on the inside, and if you don't change the programming on the inside, you're always going to find the level that you're at right now. Okay? Think of all the times you've gotten a tax refund, got what, a couple $1,000s back, or you came up on some money, some good money. And what did you do with that money? You spent it. And before you knew it, you were right back to where you started. That good feeling when that check hit, that money hit, was like, whoa! And all of a sudden, before you knew it, it was, you were Cinderella, and then it's mice and pumpkins again. And you're back to normal life. Like, okay, here we are again. That feeling sucks, okay? So I'm trying to help you become Cinderella all the time, all right? I want you to experience that all the time. And I'm speaking from experience of somebody who I can now say I'm at a level of personal wealth. I'm not rich by any stretch, okay? I am probably right around the 6-figure mark at this point in my life, all right? I consider this is one step above teaching. Whatever that next level is, that's my experience that I can share with you. And I feel like that's a lot more honest and trustworthy than going to someone who's already a millionaire, multi-millionaire, already super duper successful. I'm on the journey myself. So I'm just passing along notes of what has worked for me. And it may or may not work for you. But I look at it this way. If I'm trying to lose weight, right? I don't want to go to one of these fitness models that are chiseled year round, okay? They look like they're ready to step up on a competition stage, perfectly tanned, ready for the beach, whatever. I don't trust them. they're on some they're on some hormonal assistance, if you catch my drift, most likely. So a lot of their advice is not going to work for a normal person with a normal functioning hormonal system. They usually have premium training year round. They have a coach that works with them. And not saying that I can't get a coach to work for me, and I can't just hop on some supplements. But I want to learn from the person who they were where I'm at, or they wanted to lose weight and they did it a year ago. Okay, and they're like, I'm going to that person saying, well, how'd you do it? You're not going to one of these professional athletes and saying, how'd you do it? Right? Their before picture is always when they were a teenager or something like that. I don't trust it. All right? So that's me. I was the broke guy a year or 2 years ago. And so I've done a lot of my own inner world shifting. And so I'm here to tell you how I've gotten to where I'm at. And we're going to start with the inner world, the subconscious and the spirit and our thoughts. So in occult terms, what you've got to remember, as above, so below, so within, so without. You have to remember that the universe is mind. The entire universe is a mental state. It's an imagination. All right, we're in a proverbial matrix, so to speak. That means that your mind, your mind equals the entire universe. There's nothing that exists in the universe that's outside of yourself. So how you're experiencing the universe right now is a direct response with what's going on in your own mind. All right? The magician controls the mind. All right? You can write that down. So get your crayons out and let's start taking notes. I'm going to be reading my notes as we go too. So the first thing we've got to think about in our inner world is we self-sabotage ourselves far more than the world sabotages us. In fact, the world is a reflection of our inner thoughts, how we speak to ourselves, how we think about things. And I know people don't want to hear this. All right, you've got to get out of that. The victim mentality is going to keep you trapped. It's going to keep you wherever you are. So if that's the experience you want to maintain, by all means, blame someone else, blame the government, blame the world, anyone but yourself, okay? However, for the rest of you, if this is resonating with you, I want you to keep on. If you want to break out and finally find freedom, experience life in a way that you've never experienced it before, and don't buy into the hype of money doesn't make life better. There's caveats to that. That's a yes and a no. All right? Money isn't everything. Money doesn't solve problems. Yes, it does. And unfortunately, we live in a society where money just about is everything. You can't eat without money. Most places you can't go out and just forage for your own food. You're not going to go hunt. All right? Most people aren't homesteaders. It's expensive to homestead. These days, if you don't want to be a farmer and you want to function in the world, you need money. If you're living off of money now, you need money. All right? So get that out of your head. Money isn't everything. And we're going to get to that. Word curses, inner thoughts, and things like that, which is actually first on the list of things to talk about. So, self-sabotage. We are sabotaging ourselves every single day with how we operate. And it's not always conscious. A lot of the time it's unconscious. Okay? In fact, the things that float up to the conscious state are flowing up from the unconscious. It's being driven by the unconscious. So that's why we've got to go into the unseen. We've got to go into the darkness, find these things, and pull them up to the surface. We are rewiring our software. All right? We are realigning our paths that are in our brain, our neural paths, to be in alignment with what it is we want. Right? Remember, money is a current, an energetic current. It's just like water. It's always flowing. And if you are not in alignment with it, whatever you're receiving right now, that's what you're vibrating at. That is what you're aligned with. So if you want to experience more of the current, you're going to have to raise that vibration. You're going to have to resonate with what it is that you want. And so it means you're going to have to break free of the trap that you're in. So, word curses. We are cursing ourselves every time we speak negatively in regards to money. There are many ways that we do this. So it's some examples of word curses. And let me tell you this, word curses kill dreams. As soon as it comes out of your mouth, as soon as that thought pops into your mind, it's already prohibiting you from taking any further action. It is shutting down your dreams. It is cutting off the possibility of ideas flowing to you. Somebody could give you the full blueprint, the recipe of how to triple your income in the next 6 months. And as long as you're speaking these word curses, you're not even going to be able to receive the information because it won't resonate with you. So we've got to stop the red flags. Once we cease those, they no longer exist, or we're going to reframe those and turn those into green flag thoughts that come to our mind, which is even more powerful. So when you start speaking in a green flag way, when you reframe the way that you speak to yourself, to the universe, to others about money, you are putting yourself in resonance with the money that you desire to have. Write that down. When you stop speaking negatively about money and start speaking in a way that resonates with the money that you want, that is going to be the money that you will have. All right? So let's give some examples of word curses. These are the most common ones I've heard, the most common ones that I used not so long ago, about a year and a half, especially 2 years, and before. I would speak these things when I would be talking to my wife, when I'd be talking to friends, and these are the things that they would say too. And I'm telling you, when you cut that out of your life and you start speaking differently, you start to resonate differently, and things just start to happen differently. All right, that's because I'm changing the inner world, and the outer world starts reflecting that. All right. So, how many times have you said, "I hate money"? You know, when bills come out and you have barely anything left after that, you say, "Oh, I hate money." All right? You're cursing yourself. You're telling your subconscious, "I don't want money. Keep it away from me." Instead, start saying, "I hate being broke." You're taking that same fuel, that same emotion, and directing it at the actual problem, being broke. You can hate being broke. You can feel whatever you want to feel about being broke. That's going to drive you out. That's going to drive you towards freedom. All right? I can't afford it. We've all said that. I have to catch myself even today. There's things that I don't perceive that I'm able to afford in the moment. But instead of saying I can't afford it, ask yourself, how can I afford it? When you say I can't afford it, your brain stops immediately. Okay, your subconscious says, all right, we can't afford that. It's not a priority. We're not going to even think about it. All right? When you say, how can I afford it? Now your mind has to work. Remember, the magician controls the mind. Your mind goes into an operating system. Now it's looking for ways that it can afford something. All right? This is so important. How can I afford it? Make your mind work for you. Make your subconscious work for you. This is a huge one. All right? I used to be guilty about this all the time. When I made this change, my world changed. Literally, my world changed. But that's too expensive. All right? When you gawk at the price of something, when you say, that's too expensive, you are shutting the mind down. You are immediately turning the ideas off. You're turning the flow of currency off. And you're keeping yourself in the vibratory state, in the vibratory resonance of where you're at right now. Know this. Write this down. There is no such thing as expensive. You might say, oh, Damios, what are you talking about? There's no such thing as expensive. That's crazy. That's preposterous. Listen to me. There's no such thing as expensive. It cost what it cost. All right? Nobody points at something like a Lamborghini or a Versace handbag and says, that's too expensive. We all know it cost what it cost. Okay? Its price is its price. When I go pump gas at the gas pump, I'm not sitting there, oh, gas is so high these days. What's the other option? To walk? It costs what it costs. Groceries cost what they cost. All right? They're not expensive. Either you can afford it or you cannot afford it, but don't speak that language to yourself. All right? How can I afford it? It costs what it costs. All right? The price is the price. All right, the value of that, whether it matches, whether it aligns with the price or not, is irrelevant. Either you are going to have it or you're going to do without it. Okay, but don't say that it's expensive. It costs what it costs. Money is hard to make. No, money is not hard to make. Actually, this day and age, it's very easy to make. All right? Money responds to value and focus. So when you discover what you have that is valuable, and believe me, you have it, and you focus on that thing, money will respond. It is not hard to make. You are making it hard to make. I'll do it when I have more money. Again, you are shutting yourself down. You're giving yourself an excuse to not act. Currency, the vibratory resonance of currency, of the money current, responds directly to movement. If you move, money moves. All right? So if you are speaking things like, I'll do it when I have more money, you're never going to have more money. You're never going to move. So the current is never going to flow your way. Understand this. Instead, tell yourself, I'll take aligned action with what I have now. I'll take aligned action with what I have now. All right? So figure out what that is. All right? Figure out what it is you want to do. And don't put the imaginary excuse of you'll do it when you have more money. What can you do with what you have right now? And start to work on that thing. Do that thing. Do what you can with what you've got. And immediately you're creating movement. I'm exhausted. How many times do we tell ourselves that? Okay? I'm exhausted. I'm too exhausted. I can't do anything. This comes back to the self. What do we need to do? What do we need to tell ourselves? I need to protect my energy better. And I'm going to talk about energy leakages here in a moment. I need to protect myself. I need to protect my energy better. You are putting energy in places that are exhausting you, right? When you're putting energy into getting energy back, you're not going to be exhausted. You're pouring it out into a vacuum. We're going to get into that because energy leakages are your phone, your addiction, seeking external validation and caretaking, plus more. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. And that's going to be another way we're going to stop doing what is preventing the money from flowing to us. And here's the famous last words of everybody who wants to stay stagnant in their life. I don't have time. Bullshit. You have 24 hours every single day. I don't have time. I'm going to tell you something. I used to work at the General Motors factory. I would work 12 hours a day. It would take me a good hour to drive to work and an hour to drive home. I would have to get what sleep I could. It felt more like taking a nap. I also had a 1-year-old at home, and I was married. I still found time to go to the gym, get my workout in 6 days a week. I still cooked for myself. I still meal prepped for myself. I cooked for my entire family. It's not that you don't have time, you haven't made time. You are wasting time on things rather than putting that focus into what is actually creating movement, momentum, and raising your resonance to match the current of money. You have time to pour in to another project that could make you money. You have time to upload YouTube videos that can make you money. You have time to make TikTok videos, whatever it is, whatever that platform is, whatever that value is, you have time to work on it. Okay? Do not make the mistake of telling yourself that you don't have time, because I'm telling you now, you have all the time in the world. You're not utilizing it correctly. Be careful of this death trap. All right? And let me tell you, I built the business I'm running today while I was working a full-time job. Okay? My job would eat up 15 to 16 hours of my day. And not only that, but while I was doing that, while I was building a business, I still had time to pour into my family. I still had time to play with my kids. I still had time to pour into my wife. You have time. And I still found time to rest. You have time. Instead, tell yourself, instead of saying I don't have time, tell yourself, I'm choosing where my time goes. I'm choosing where my time goes. That is infinitely more powerful than saying I don't have time. Now let's talk about energy leaks in the case of self-sabotage. Our addictions are leaking our energy. Now that can be drugs or alcohol or cannabis. And don't tell me that cannabis isn't addictive, because anything that is a crutch that we are reaching for anytime we feel bad, and I'm not saying it doesn't have its uses, believe me, but if we are reaching for substances every time we feel bad or we want to feel comforted, that is dysregulating our endocrine system. It is dysregulating our dopamine and serotonin levels. The things that make us feel good and feel rewarded. Alright, when those are off balance, you're not going to have the drive that you need to propel your ass to freedom. Okay? Even bigger than that, is the phone addiction and the TV addiction. We go to the phone. How many of can you honestly say that you can put your phone down for even an hour and not be tempted to go grab it and pick it up and look at it? Search for notifications, pull up videos to start thumbing through, wasting your time. It's an energy leak. It is an energy leak. And it is not in alignment with the future version of yourself. If you would just see this and recognize it, I recommend you go on a phone detox, go on a TV detox, get the alcohol out of your life. If you're not ruling it, it is ruling you. Your phone, your TV, any screen, any substance, junk food, all of this stuff, pornography. If you're not master over it, it is mastering you. You cannot be sovereign if you are a slave. Okay, write this down. You cannot be sovereign if you are a slave. If you have a slave mentality, which means you have a master, you can never be sovereign. All right? And there's tricks with the phone. The phone has been my number one thing, even up until recently, okay? I would check I've got an iPhone. It tells me how much time I spend on my screen. I was spending roughly about 8 hours a day staring at my screen. How much of that was actually me getting shit done and working? Probably 3 to 4, okay? I was spending so much time replying to messages that didn't feed back into me, scrolling and seeing what everybody else was talking about, what everybody else was doing, what everybody else was creating, instead of either putting that time into creating my world, myself, or resting and conserving that energy. Turn your notifications off. My phone is completely in black and white. You can go to your settings if you have an iPhone, especially. I'm not sure if you can do this on Android. I would Google it. You can go to settings, go to accessibility, and you can actually turn the color off. My screen is in black and white. My screen is boring to look at. All the colors, the dopamine releasing colors, the flashing lights, those have been dulled down to just black and white. Alright? But put your phone down, stop looking at it for 72 hours. 2 days. Just leave it alone, be present and be in the moment. What happens is you start getting that drive back. You can start to meditate. You can start to slow down. You stop worrying about what the outside world is thinking about you, because when your phone's off, they don't exist anymore. All that there is right here, what you're experiencing in the now. So turn it off. Turn it off. Fast from your phone. And then after that fast, you're going to go into necessary use only. You're not going to use your phone for entertainment. Oh, but that sucks. Who said? You can have a set time for entertainment purposes. You're not going to do this right off the bat. You've got to break the addiction first. Then you're going to set it up as, after I've accomplished XYZ. Say you go to the gym, you get a workout in, you take a walk. All of a sudden, then maybe you can look at your phone a little bit. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I'm just going to tell you what has worked for me. What's going to happen when you get all these addictions out of your system, when you purge, you detox these addictions, as life starts to become enjoyable again. You start wanting to do the things that expand your life. You start wanting to exercise. You start wanting to take walks. You can't wait to do these things. You want to keep your house clean. You want to cook healthy. You want to build a business. You want to pour into yourself. You want to take care of yourself. You wake up and it feels like Christmas morning, or you feel like you're on a beach vacation every single day. All right? Trust me when I say this. Where you're leaking energy out of, when you're frying your dopamine receptors, it is making life dull, it's making life unenjoyable, it's keeping you in a depressed state, and you're never going to be able to fully resonate with the wealth current that you want to experience in your life. Okay? Seeking external validation. All right? This is a big one. When it comes to making money, what do we want to do as soon as we get a good idea? We want to tell people about it. Oh, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to start an Etsy store. I'm going to start doing this. Immediately, you're doing that to get the dopamine response from it, and you never actually end up following through with it. Okay? So, what that really is this need for that attention, that external validation. You're wanting other people to recognize you so that you feel worthy. You want to feel like you're doing something so that you'll feel worthy. Cut that out. You're already worthy. You are already worthy. Just go do it. You don't need anyone else to approve of you or tell you you're worthy. If your ambition is, I want to get wealthy so that I can have this car to impress people, trust me, people aren't going to give two shits about your car. People aren't going to give two shits about your wealth. Why bother? Why bother? It's not what you think it's going to be. People don't care. They are too busy living their own life. All right? Knock that off, because you're never actually going to get wealthy if your goal is just to impress people, or your goal is to keep up with the Joneses, or your goal is to, impress anybody. All you're going to do is take whatever minimum action is required to make you feel a little bit better about your situation and to look impressive rather than be impressive. Knock it off. What you want to do instead is to just focus on the goal. We're not hustling and grinding. We are putting focus by removing the divided attention. We're bringing all of that energy back, and you can focus it on one single task, and that is exploring this idea that you've already got, exploring what you have to offer, what ways that you can solve other people's problems. We're not going to talk about that today, but you get the point, you get the message. Okay? Energy leaks are robbing you of that. Your energy leaks today are robbing you of your future, the future version that is living the life that you wish you could be living today. Take into account where your energy is being leaked out of. Make a list if you have to, and then see what steps you need to take by any means necessary to stop the energy leaks. Stop hanging out with certain people. They are robbing your energy. People that drain you, people that make you feel bad about yourself, people that are negative all the time. They are draining your energy. They are leeches. Stay away from them. Don't pick up the phone. Oh, yeah, I'll be able to hang out tonight, or, let's meet up, let's get some drinks. That is not pushing you toward your goal at this point in time. Okay? There will be time to hang out with people later after you've got to where you want to be. All right, moving on. Caretaking. Now, I'm mentioning this because that was a big energy leak for me. Caretaking other people's emotions. That includes tiptoeing around other people's feelings. Worrying about what other people are going to think. Worrying about how other people are going to feel. Feeling like you have to be their emotional support animal. Feeling like you need to play the therapist for everyone. Feeling like people can trauma dump on you. all of this stuff, being there for people that don't equally pour into you, where there's no value exchange. If they're not pouring into you, or if they are not paying you, then they are robbing you. They're robbing you of precious life force energy. Okay? Make no mistake about it. You've got to cut out the caretaker. You've got to kill off the caretaker. The caretaker is not in resonance, is not in alignment with who it is you are meant to be. This does not mean to stop caring about people and become a selfish prick. This means to stop overextending yourself, because what you're really doing is you're trying to make people feel better. You're trying to make yourself feel more valuable to other people. But what you're really trying to do is, it's back to that worthiness thing. You want to feel loved and you want to feel worthy. You do not, caretaking has never made you actually feel loved and feel worthy. All right? It's an illusion. It is an illusion. It is an illusion. All right? There are shadow journaling ways to go about that, and I actually have a ritual in my Patreon that can help with this also. So let's go back over what we just talked about. Energy leaks are robbing the very life force that will free you. Write that down. Keep your journal out and write this down. Validation seeking is a misuse of your energy. You can chase validation, or you can just be. You can become the person that already is validated, but you cannot serve two masters. Caretaking is you sacrificing yourself, you setting yourself on fire in order to keep others warm. Just so you can feel worthy. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Now we can move on to this last part I want to talk about. How do you think about people that do have money? How do you think about rich people? If it is in a negative light, you're sabotaging yourself. Negative talk about rich people. Write this down. Negative talk about rich people. Such as actually, we'll get to that in a moment. When you talk negatively about rich people, think about this. This is extremely damaging. And most people miss it. You know why? Because it's also very socially rewarded. You get around all your broke friends, or you're at work and you start talking about those rich people. They hoard all the money. They're the reason for all our problems. They're selfish, they're greedy, whatever. Everybody backs you up on it. They all reward it and you feel better about yourself. What you don't realize that you're doing is self-sabotaging yourself. This is what I wanted you to write down. When you speak negatively about rich people, you are not criticizing wealth itself. You are subconsciously rejecting proximity to wealth. That means you are subconsciously telling yourself, I don't want to be close to wealth, because wealth equals whatever negativity I'm projecting onto these rich people. I don't want to be anything like them. You're doing a lot more harm than good, my friend. What's happening is your nervous system hears, if I become wealthy, I become unsafe, immoral, hated, or corrupted. How true do you think this is? If you were to become wealthy, if you were to become comfortably rich, whatever that number is to you, would you actually become unsafe? No, you become safer. Would you become immoral? Let's talk about that. Money does not change people. Money reveals people. Money amplifies what is already there. If you're already immoral and you come across money, you're going to become more immoral. If you're already a good person, you're going to become an even better person. End of story. You're going to be hated. You're hated now. There's somebody out there that hates you. Especially as you're rising up, there's going to be a lot of people crossing their arms saying, I could do that better. Ugh, that person. I heard about them. Oh, they did this or that. That's how they have their money. Trust me. Assume you're already hated. Doesn't matter. It's okay. Being afraid of being hated is not worth sacrificing the life that you truly want to live. Corrupted. Goes back to who you already are is going to be amplified by money. If you're already corruptible, you're going to become even more corruptible when money's involved. If you're not, that's not going to be an issue. Now, all of this to say, this doesn't mean to start licking wealthy people's boots. I'm just going to put that out there. Don't start sucking up to wealthy people, and you don't have to start praising and worship them. Worship yourself. This is the path to sovereignty. Okay? But you're not doing yourself any favors by bashing rich people. Blaming them for your problems. Blaming them for the world's problems. There might be some truth to that. Doesn't matter. It's not helping your life. And your life is the life we're talking about right now. Remember, money amplifies what's already there. What we're talking about, this is all high magic. When we are going into the darkness and pushing the light, we are becoming light. We are raising our resonance by finding what's hidden, the misaligned spirits, and bringing them out to the surface and reframing them so that they work for us. Something that helps immensely with this is a ritual that I've designed and used very effectively. This magical operation does involve journaling. It involves creating a pact with yourself. A very powerful pact. And then it involves calling on a certain entity that is specifically there to help actually pull this energy out of you, purify that energy, and place it back in you. Now, I have the exact ritual on my Patreon. So my Patreon subscribers are going to be able to watch it and learn exactly how to do it the way that I've done it. I'm only mentioning it because I used it to great effect, and it would be disingenuous of me to leave it out and say, oh, I did all, just subconscious stuff and reframing. No, there were rituals involved that I attribute to my success today. Okay, it wasn't direct money magic and getting more money. No, there was rituals first that preceded even the money magic that actually helped purify myself so that I was free to resonate on the level of currency that I wanted to have. Okay? So if that is something that is interesting to you, head over to my Patreon. The link is going to be in the description. This ritual is going to be available to the middle and the top tier only. With that, I'm going to have an exclusive, hard-hitting, straight to the root set of shadow questions that are going to be necessary for this ritual. So you'll have access to these shadow questions that are going to help transform your life so that you get on that level of resonance to where the money is able to flow into your life almost automatically seeming. So click the link in the description if you've made it this far. If that's something that's interesting to you, join my Patreon and try it for yourself. Everything I do, I want it to be a transformation, not just, oh, that's cool, let me try that. I want it to actually benefit your life. I want it to actually bring change to your life and transform your life. That's what all of this stuff has done for me. Okay? Sure, I've got a few, spells here and there that they're fun to use and they're really cool to use, but the transformational stuff is really what I like to focus on. So if you want to experience a level of existence that you have not experienced before, my Patreon might be a great place to help discover that in a way that you kind of just plug yourself in and build your own path. You take what's useful, you discard the rest. All right? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.